I found an interesting weapon yesterday. It's a level 49 weapon, the Compressing Superball. And first, I'm like, I wasn't sure it was supposed to be a gimmick in the game. So I was in Sanctuary just playing with it. And then I thought maybe there's a reason why this weapon is in the game. So I tried to check the stats, and the stats are pretty good. Right? It does a lot of damage, fire damage, 982 damage, and it does 1500 damage per second and a 41% chance. So I'm thinking, maybe with the right build and the right play style, this weapon can be useful. And definitely with the right class, with the right Vault Hunter, right? Because right now I found it when I was playing Zane. And Zane is not really an elemental weapon build, elemental weapon Vault Hunter. You know, Amara does more elemental damage, right? So I went to Pandora and I was using the weapon with Zane, and of course my clone doesn't use the weapon well. And I was thinking maybe I should bounce the pellets or the bones fired to see if that would work, and that's the best way to use it. And I was thinking maybe it's kind of like the demo man in TFC, in TF2, right? You bounce your mines, and I was still trying to kill, see if it can damage animals who are immune to fire, right? So I was doing testing on the weapon, you know, to see if the weapon will work in what scenarios or whatever. So I was trying it with everything. But then I figured it's probably best to go with Amara and give Amara the weapon and have her do her thing with it.
A Siren warrior from Partali, fierce, powerful, could come in handy.
You know, because that high elemental chance and damage will work best. Will work better with Amara. Work best with Amara, work better with Amara. So I said, let's go check her out. Have her play it, put it in her hands. But see, I think the weapon is, you have to create a build that will make most of the weapon, make most of its abilities, and I'm not sure if you'll do that for this one weapon unless you want to run through like a campaign mode that you want to just run through and just waste everything, because it does kill a lot of, you know, enemies that don't have armor or shield real quickly. It burns them, like some of them get vaporized. And this is Mayhem 3. So while I was in fighting Tron, at the end, you see I die a lot, I get downed a lot, and it's because I was wearing a shield. You see, I'm still testing the weapon, I should say. I'm not sure if the weapon is, if it's the collateral damage or the whatever from the weapon that causes that, or it's because I'm wearing a shield that drops IEDs that blow up, right? And some weird stuff happened when you wear that shield. I wanted to test the shield out too, so I was testing a shield that does weird things and the weapon at the same time, and I was playing it very aggressively. I don't normally play it that aggressively, but I wanted to see if I have a weapon that does hella fire damage, if I'm aggressive, will that weapon save my life? So that's what I was testing. I was testing a lot of things, but that's the main thing. Can I run up on some of these bosses? Not every boss, but some bosses that have no shield, or by the time their shields are down, can I run on them with a weapon that does high fire damage, and that weapon will vaporize them? Not a shotgun like a flak or one of the weapons that people use, you know, just something that's, I don't know if it's popular. I haven't checked YouTube or anything whether this weapon is popular, but I think with the right build, this weapon can shine. If you can probably use Amara with Slam, you know, so you can get in there with high melee and then get close and then the curve of the bullet, the curve of the firing will not have an impact, or if, you know, you can negate that by getting in close. So with the right build, with the right play style, you definitely can take advantage of this weapon because it does kill very quickly when you play campaign or go through the campaign portions of the game. I'm not sure about end game or you know, those slaughterhouses or whatever, because a lot of times with slaughterhouses you need to have a good you know, a sturdy build that can survive some of this damage from the bosses and the badasses, right? So, but to run through a campaign or run through a campaign level or whatever, just kill off little minions or whatever, it does do a good job, and it's not as, you know, aim intensive as other weapons. Like you don't have to aim really. You just run on them and just press fire, and the little bullets, little balls come out and just melt people. So just a little video on a weapon that I found that at first I didn't know if I should take a weapon seriously or but it's also a general, you know, video on Borderlands in general about weapons. Like, you know, a lot of people, you know, they go for name weapons. I guess this is a name weapon. It might be a popular weapon in the Borderlands community. I have no idea, right? But a lot of people, you know, they go for the sexier weapons, the name weapons, and everything else you trash. Like, so if it's a blue or purple, of course you're gonna trash it. It's not legendary. And if it's a level 49 or below legendary, you don't want it. This is a level 49 gun. It's not a 50 gun. It's a level 49 gun, and it is not some high damage sniper rifle or a shotgun, right? It's a pistol that shoots superballs, basically, and it's like a toy gun, but it does so much fire damage that it melts enemies in the campaign level. And if you have the right build and getting close, you can really just wreck people. And so I'm sure, you know, people are better at building classes or whatever could have this weapon, and they know exactly how to build a perfect Amara to use this. But yeah, I had a lot of fun using it, and it's a good quick weapon to eliminate enemies. And I have about 3 or so blue sniper rifles in my Zane backpack that, you know, normally I wouldn't pick up or whatever, but I started picking up weapons and keeping them and testing them and say, hey, maybe this build works. Part of the reason why I test weapons is because I play Zane, right? And Zane has a clone. And a lot of times I have to test the weapon with the clone and see how he uses it. Because you might pick up a weapon and you fire it like, you know, like an automatic weapon. But when you give it to the clone, when the clone spawns with it, he fires it like a semi-automatic. And it's kind of weird. So not every weapon he's going to use the way you intend him to use it. He's not going to use it as fast sometimes as you think. But there's some weapons like the Hellwalker. He fires the Hellwalker much faster than I fire the Hellwalker. I can't fire the Hellwalker as fast as him. He fires the Hellwalker just incredibly fast. So a weapon like that in his hand is deadly. And of course, the godly sniper rifles are deadly in his hands too. But this weapon is not really good in his hands. He doesn't really, he fires it like how I fire it, which is like I bounce it on the ground, right? But I think the way you could play with this weapon is have a class that's high melee intensive, and of course not wearing a shield that drops IEDs that kill you, and maybe not have your enemies that you defeat explode and kill you, right? So you have resistance to damage high, right? And have high health and or shield regeneration up, and then melee up. And so you run a melee class, run in, melee somebody, and that melee might give you more elemental chance or something, and then use the weapon close range at them, and this weapon should do a lot of damage and destroy enemies, right? So that's basically it. Just saying, I found this weapon and I thought it was interesting because it's never a weapon that I would even consider using, but I'm interested in it now since I realized that, hey, if I look at the stats, after looking at the stats, I realized that there are so many weapons in the game. If you just look at the stats and then try to figure out a build around a weapon, and I think I do a lot more of that because I play Zane and I have a clone that I have to consider what weapons I put in my backpack. For example, I have one weapon that's dedicated for him, so every time before I spawn him, I try to have that weapon in my hand so he uses it, like the Hellwalker or a sniper rifle. And then I have another 2 weapons that are for me, right? That don't really take advantage of his skills, and they don't really, he doesn't really outperform with those weapons. But if he has the sniper rifle, even when I have no bullets, right? Once you spawn him with a sniper rifle, he just kills everything. Right? And if you have him up close, and you spawn him with the shotgun, the Hellwalker, he also massacres everybody. So, but this weapon, he can't. He doesn't fire it well. He just bounces it like really slowly, and it doesn't really work that well. But if I can use it better than him, right? So I could have it, but I wouldn't have a Zane use it because Zane doesn't really. He's not really geared to do as much elemental damage as Amara, who's a better elemental damage dealer. All right.